Hey guys, and today I'm doing my tips for round 11, and we've got a bye this week, so there's not as many games, and that means the video won't go for 10 years. We've got Essendon and Carlton taking centre stage on the Friday night, which will probably be a match of the round. It's going to be an absolute beauty, and Essendon have lost 3 of their last 4 games, and the Blues come in winning 6 of their last 7, so it'll be a fascinating contest. The last time these sides went head to head, it was Carlton getting the job done easily by 96 points last year. If there's ever a game where form doesn't matter and a game that could go either way, then this is definitely it. It's arguably the toughest tip of the year. Carlton have been pretty good against Essendon recently. They've won 3 of their last 4 games against them. And when Carlton win, they absolutely smash the Bombers. I don't have a clue who's going to win this game, because, as I said, form generally doesn't matter, but based on recent encounters and recent form, I think Carlton looks the goods, but yeah, definitely toss of the coin this game. I'm going to go with Carlton by 40 points. Geelong and GWS fight it out at Scotus Stadium on the Saturday afternoon. Geelong had a pretty tough contest last week, just getting the win against Gold Coast, well, in the end by 52 points after pretty competitive effort from the Gold Coast, at least for 3 quarters. And GWS, well, they had a 94-point flogging against the Blues. Last time these sides went against each other, it was all tied up at half-time, but Geelong had the extra polish in the second half and got a bit of a move on to win by 65 points. GWS still haven't won a game, and I don't think they're really going to win one here, and I guess I'm just going to go with Geelong by 76 points. Adelaide hosts Sydney at Amy Stadium late Saturday afternoon. Adelaide were a bit stiff to go down to Fremantle last week. They lost by 7 points, and Sydney were brilliant with a hard-fought 44-point win against the Bombers at the SCG. I remember when Sydney could never get a win at Amy Stadium, or they barely got a win when they did play there. And they certainly broke the hoodoo last year, defeating Adelaide there by 29 points in sensational style. And they kept Adelaide to 5 goals that day, so it was a wonderful defensive effort. Adelaide haven't defeated a team inside the top 8, so this is really as tough as it gets. It's bound to be low scoring, as the last time a team got 100 plus points when these two sides have played was all the way back in 2010. And I think Sydney were the scorers on that day, getting the biggest score. And yeah, I really like Sydney on this occasion. I think they've hit top form and look at their best, and I think that'll just be too good for Adelaide. I'm going to go with Sydney to win by 27 points. A big game on Saturday night sees North Melbourne head up to Metricon Stadium to take on Gold Coast. North Melbourne were pretty good last week against the Saints, winning by 68 points, quite easily in the end. And, well, it was easy right from the word go. And Gold Coast, just a little bit disappointing with their last quarter fade out to Geelong, but nonetheless they did play well, but 52-point loss was still the result. Last time it was a really close clash. North only just sneaked home in the end. They won by 7 points, and poor kicking didn't really help on their part. And it's something they do need to improve, since the 3 games they've played against Gold Coast have kicked 46 goals, 60 behind, which yeah, is pretty poor, and that sort of nearly cost them the game last time. I think they kicked 11 goals, 21, so a bit of a poor effort and something they need to work on. It will be a very tough contest, since going by the ladder, but these sides are pretty evenly matched. North just haven't quite been able to get the wins on the board, but their form has been very impressive. I think they've just got that extra bit of class, and I think that will definitely help them out to get a victory here. I'm going to go with North Melbourne to win by 22 points. St Kilda host West Coast at Etihad Stadium on the Sunday, which is the only Sunday game this week. St Kilda were pretty disappointing against North last week, losing by over 10 goals. And the Eagles were equal to it, and they lost by 41 points at their fortress to the Tigers, in what was a really impressive performance for them. The last time these sides went head-to-head, it was West Coast winning at Patterson Stadium by 30 points. Both sides have had really up and down years, and I guess the Saints have probably performed worse than the Eagles. But you'd have to say, in terms of expectations of this year, the Eagles have probably been worse off than what people expected the Saints to deliver this year. Whilst West Coast did get the win last time, the Saints have won the previous 4 encounters before that, so it will certainly be a challenge for both sides. I don't think St Kilda can get a big enough score to get them across the line. The Eagles have a really good attack when they can kick straight, but yeah, definitely, I just don't know if the Saints can get enough goals to win it. It's as simple as that. I'm going to go with West Coast. Not too confident because it really is to flip at the coin. But yeah, if they think they're a contender, they just must win. But I'm going to go with West Coast by 13 points. Melbourne and Collingwood play each other at the MCG on the Monday, which is Queen's birthday. Melbourne were, just disappointing last week against the Hawks. They went down by 95 points. And Collingwood were pretty good up the Gabba. They bet the Lions by 49 points, even though they were a bit undermanned, but nonetheless a good victory. And the last time these teams went against each other, it was Collingwood winning by 42 points. They've had some interesting encounters recently, especially in Collingwood's premiership year. Back in 2010, Collingwood only won by a point one game, and then they drew with them later on in the year. So just goes to show Melbourne don't mind playing against Collingwood. But Melbourne are in the worst shape of their lives, so it seems. And yeah, they haven't actually defeated Collingwood since 2007, so long time between drinks, that's for sure. Collingwood haven't been that convincing this year, but if you had to pick which side was better, you'd probably have to go Collingwood. They shouldn't have too many concerns in this game. I'm going to go with the Pies by 37 points. So those are my tips for round 11. It's a bit shorter because teams have a bye, or some teams have a bye anyway. I was pretty impressed with my tipping performance last week. Only Richmond tripped me up, which I'm sure it did for a few people. They're so plucky, those Tigers. They just sometimes come to the table and sometimes they don't. Feel free to comment your tips. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you guys all soon.